What's up, family? It's your girl, Miss T. I've been gone for a minute, but now I'm back with the jump off. So I wanted to come in and chime in on what's been going on with this whole Jay-Z, Roc Nation, NFL collaboration. If you didn't know, Jay-Z has struck an entertainment and social justice deal with the NFL. And this comes as a huge surprise to some, because not so long ago, Jay-Z was very vocal about separating himself from the NFL, largely in part of the maltreatment of Colin Kaepernick. Colin was penalized for taking a knee during the national anthem in protest of police brutality in the United States, just in case y'all didn't know. In one of his songs called Ape Shit, he said, "I took a pass on the Super Bowl. You need me, I don't need you. Every night we in the end zone. Tell the NFL we in stadiums too." What changed? And one of his Roc Nation artists, Rihanna, refused to perform at the Super Bowl in solidarity of the cause as well. And recently we found out that Jay-Z had a conversation with So Def founder Jermaine Dupri as to why he shouldn't have took a similar deal with the NFL when it was offered to him. So again, what changed? In a press conference, Jay-Z said we were past kneeling. And he also claimed that upon signing this deal, he had a conversation with Colin Kaepernick about it. But it turns out that was not entirely the truth. Kaepernick has been chiming in, as well as Sean King, with, some shady tweets. They're letting it be known that they were not a part in the making of this deal. So with all of that being said, I think people are not so much outraged about him making this deal, but the way he went about it. It's coming off really shady. And it's as if he is being used as a pawn by the NFL to silence the people, the black people, because their bottom line is suffering. People aren't in attendance like they used to be. And let's keep it real. They could have got anybody to take on this entertainment and social justice deal, but they landed on Jay-Z, and that's because he has a lot of influence with black people. Jehovah is some of y'all's Lord and Savior. On the flip side, Jay-Z doesn't owe anything to Colin. But if you were standing with him all of this time, but now that you've inked this deal, all communication stops, shady. Some are arguing he was finished with the protest, so Jay-Z had all rights to be free and clear to do whatever he wants as far as signing on with the NFL. And here's my thing. In my opinion, the NFL blackballed Colin for conducting a peaceful protest to be in allegiance with the president. And that is wrong. And for that, they owe him that money. And y'all would have taken the money too, don't front. Do you know how many jobs have screwed me over and I couldn't recoup a dime? So you best believe I would want to be paid for my pain. When I was in school, a long time ago, there were students in my classroom that were allowed to stay seated during the Pledge of Allegiance for several reasons, whether it be religion or where they were from. They had a right to stay seated and not be penalized. But now, since Colin is kneeling for police brutality, and the thing about it is, it's because it's for black people. Let's just keep it real. Now it's a problem, but it's not a fireable offense. They was wrong, dead wrong. Do I think Colin could have been a little more strategic in his stance and what actions he was demanding from the NFL and society as a whole? Yes, of course. I know he has been doing a lot in the community himself with the Know Your Rights campaign, and that's excellent. That's excellent, but I do feel like he could have had a more clear-cut plan as far as the actions he wanted taken in response to him kneeling. I did a little research on this, and it did look as though the NFL were taking strides to create funds for social justice, and I think they have this program called the Inspire Change platform. And they were supposed to, I don't know if it actually happened, but they were supposed to donate about $20 million to social justice organizations. From my understanding, Colin Kaepernick and I believe Eric Reed weren't too happy about that because they weren't really creating funds. They were actually just channeling funds from another organization. I think it was breast cancer. So it was kind of like half-ass, half-hearted effort. I can't call it. I can somewhat agree with Jay-Z on the "we're past kneeling, it's time for action" sentiment, but I also believe we can walk and chew gum at the same damn time. And that was a slap in the face to Colin Kaepernick and the movement. And that's what's making Jay-Z look like an agent and a pawn. I mean, the man got enough money for 3 damn lifetimes. Surely he could have sat this one out. But, I mean, the best case scenario is that Jay-Z gets in there and he is able to make some effective change. We'll have to see. So with all of that being said, I saw a clip today of ex-NFL player Marcellus Wiley. He's on the Fox Sports show Speak for Yourself. He chimed in with his opinion of Jay-Z's collaboration with the NFL, and he is Team Jay-Z. So much so that he has completely thrown Colin Kaepernick under the bus and basically is saying that he shouldn't be leading a movement because he is mixed race and his girlfriend Nessa is not black. So y'all check out what he had to say and I'll come back with my 2 cents.
Do you think these guys are making a big mistake going after Jay-Z?
Huge mistake, gigantic, enormous mistake. They've elected themselves the gatekeepers of what is and isn't black, and they're just not qualified.
Boom. One, Jay-Z told you what he thinks of Kaepernick truly through his actions. He didn't go to Kaepernick to say, can I? Should I? He just did it. You know why? As he said, we're beyond kneeling. You can keep kneeling. I'm going to take this baton from you as you're kneeling and now translate this into the 2 things that are most important in this whole conversation, which is the money and the power that can give the resources back to those who are underprivileged, underserved, and voiceless. And I think that's been lost right now because of Kaepernick and the gestures that him and Eric Reed and Nessa are all following. Here's the thing. Jay-Z is smart. You don't become Marcy Projects to billionaire and not be smart and have your spidey sense that can read this. And Jay-Z is guilty of giving Kaepernick a pass the same way I was guilty of giving him a pass. I was conflicted. From day one, I was against him kneeling. Because I said, get up and get those resources, because where we're from, them kneeling at kickoff has nothing to do with our situation unless you translate that, materialize it, and monetize it. Jay-Z waited long enough and finally said, I'm going to step past this dude to get this right. This is an identity issue. You know why the identity of this movement has been lost? You know why the identity has been lost in this platform of kneeling, and what does it really mean? Because the identity of those who are leading it has always been in question. Let's keep it 1,000 up here, because my past is hot. My past has expired for this. The past has expired. I've been going back and forth with this from day one at ESPN. Let's go. Kaepernick comes from a situation where he's never felt the full weight of these injustices. This is a mixed race guy who was raised by a white family from Wisconsin to Central California. Respect. That does not disqualify you from talking for us. But when you make missteps and miscalculations, it comes back into play. And he never spoke on this when Black Lives Matters movement was at its height. Think about it, 2013, 2014, Ferguson, where Jay-Z is bailing prisoners out and doing protesters out and taking pictures and supporting Trayvon Martin and that family. What was Kaepernick? You know who he was? Taking his shirt off, bruh. I knew Kaepernick back then. He was never talking about this. He meets Nessa in 2015, all of a sudden 2016 he gets benched. Flip-flop. Not mad, that still doesn't disqualify you. But Nessa comes into play now. And we all know Nessa. Respect to her and her ethnicity, but it's not black. Okay? So now we got 2 leaders who don't even feel the weight of the consequences. So guess what you are allowed to do right now?
Preach.
Have convenience. Ain't no cosmetics here, bro. When I'm in Compton, when I'm in South Central and Harlem, that's my childhood to manhood, 0 to 22 years old. Those 3 places. I know what it feels like. When you're talking to Jay-Z, who's been through Marcy Projects, Brooklyn, and all his successes, he's seen this. We both said, go Kaepernick, go. And let the cause blindly support the man. But the character is now coming to question. And then now Eric Reed is taking it and giving them cover. Eric Reed is taking Kenny Stills, another guy. Respect, guys. Another mixed race individual who's not felt the full weight of this. So when you want to take this movement, and I hate to play the race card against my own race. Usually you play the race card against the other races, right? But when I have to see these missteps and these issues all manifest, I get back to the identity of those who are leading it, which has always been in question. And now Jay-Z has answered that question. Let somebody who really knows what this is about handle this.
One of the greatest things I've ever heard. Everything I believe was just said. Go ahead.
And listen, from the beginning, I'm going to go to your point. When Colin first did this, first question that popped in my mind was, would he have done this if he was still the Colin Kaepernick that led his team to a Super Bowl? That's the first thing initially for me. But then when he got behind it and did it and did some things in the community, I was all in regards to where he was trying to go with it. I think the mistake that's going on now with Eric Reed and Colin is this. Again, I've done my research, read stuff on Jay-Z of where he's come from, the mindset behind the man, the mindset behind the music. In his lyrics, you hear certain things, but you don't understand what the breakdown means behind it. Because there's deeper meaning in why he says and does the things that he does. Because he's grown from, again, being a young man who sold drugs, who admittedly understood that. Understood he couldn't get his first record deal, said, you know what, we're going to do this on our own. But we got to do it on the inside. We got to create our own record label in order to compete. So once I get on the inside, I can make systematic changes in order for not only me, but other people that look like me, come from where I come from. Now they can have the opportunity. It's the same thing here. Don't be too quick to jump the gun to discredit what's going on. Now, I get why Eric Reed and Colin can be upset because Jay-Z refused to perform at the Super Bowl, okay? He was an advocate, really voicing a lot of opinions to Colin Kaepernick. Then all of a sudden, this deal gets done, and it's like, he really don't go into deep detail on what's going to happen. I can see where they feel a little slighted. But allow this man who's been successful to get inside and see what changes he can make, not only for the NFL, the Players Coalition, justice reform, which is all tied in to what we're talking about. Allow that process to happen a little bit so you can see exactly what his mindset, or more importantly, sit down and have a conversation with the man and say, here's where we're at.
Now we have hit the sticking point.
You
know why? We can't have a conversation on this. Colin is not versed well enough in this subject. He never lived it. So therefore you have to study it. He's not well informed enough. Where these PhDs who are on ground level said, Colin, we've tried to meet with you. He does his own thing. He goes to the beat of Nessa's drum. Respect, brother. But then Jay-Z is sitting there saying, I want to handle this, man. And stop with this whole divide and conquer. This whole, these two brothers going at it. Y'all some simple-minded fools. Our black experience is not monolithic, brother. So Jay-Z can do his way, and Colin, you can do it your way. But brother, we have seen your way. And we don't know what your leadership looks like because you're voiceless. You are voiceless in your own message, just like the people who are powerless are voiceless in our society. So now Jay-Z has said, I'm going to translate this, since I know what it feels like if this didn't work right for me. So now you look at this entire situation and you have to address the characters of the individuals because of what is happening in front of us. These guys have misled. And I gave him a pass just like you. I knew Colin when he was all the way up. And he wasn't thinking about this. And then when it first happened, I said, my homeboys told me, and people in the organization, he's pouting. You remember day one, he was just sitting there? He wasn't kneeling. And then they told him, kneel at least in respect. And he did that. And then all of a sudden, the boat got in the water, and that's where we've been for 3 years.
I just want to add a couple things. The Players Coalition that Malcolm Jenkins started, they've been accomplishing real things.
Yes.
Real things. They've changed a couple laws in Pennsylvania. They're doing some real things inside of prisons and criminal justice reform. And so this Players Coalition that they're mocking is having real impact. And the NFL has invested nearly $100 million in this and clearly are about to invest more now that Jay-Z's gotten involved. These guys have made a mistake. They said they wanted the NFL to get on board. The NFL got on board, and now they still throwing a tantrum. The NFL then goes out and gets Jay-Z, a guy that I've criticized him. Jim, me and you have gone back and forth. But when the man's right, he's right. And so I have to stand there. I have to now praise Jay-Z and say, brother, run with this football. If Colin don't want to run with it, you run with it. Hats off to him. Hats off to the NFL.
One more thing. No, I ain't done. And please add my name to this list of sellouts that goes like this. Jay-Z, Big Boy, Travis Scott, Malcolm Jenkins. Put my name on that list if you want to. Because you know what this is? This cause has turned into a validation and a credit for Colin Kaepernick and Nessa's blackness. And let me tell you, you had your past, and your past has now expired. Jay-Z, do you, as you always handle it, stay above the fray and just make this about action.
Well, tell us how you really feel. So, as far as having a mixed race black leader, a few things come to mind. Number one, can you lead a movement that you can't fully identify with the plight of the people you are leading? That's number one. And secondly, as black people, are we guilty of supporting mixed biracial people when it benefits us? And I think some of the problem that black people have with mixed and biracial people at times is that they tend to only identify with their blackness when it is convenient. So from that perspective, if Colin Kaepernick has never had to endure the brunt of racism, but he is willing to be a sacrificial lamb on the altar of oppression, then he definitely has my approval when it comes to being a black, mixed race, biracial, whatever you want to call him, leader. You can't include mixed race people or biracial people in the good times and then exclude them in the bad times. It's got to be one or the other. Stay on code. So now let's talk a little bit about the optics of it all. If you really pay close attention to our black leaders, especially in our current society, it does seem that those who are more vocal or maybe even more pushed to the forefront in the media have been of the lighter persuasion. However, I can't positively conclude whether that's because their aesthetics are more pleasing and subsequently making their message more readily heard by the masses, or if they have more pride. Because honestly, with some of these full black men and women, it has been all aboard the coon train. I'm just keeping it real. Like Beyonce said, it's complexities in complexion. And for some of us, the darker we are, the more we try to convince others we aren't like the black people. We want to distance ourselves as far away as we can so we can be received better by white society. I'm keeping it 100. But we could be here all night talking about that. At the end of the day, I stand with Cap. Y'all let me know how y'all feel. Do you feel mixed race or biracial people should be at the forefront of black movements? Or maybe it doesn't matter for you as long as we can gain some sort of social justice and change. Y'all let me know down in the comments. Thank you for kicking it with me today. Please make sure you like this video, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you next time. Peace.